Están en sintonía con 99.5 FM en El Gran Mango, de Barrio Blanca, Todo Fuerte. In the studio, I have with me the producer director of a thing called Estilo Hip Hop, Loira Limbel. Limbal? Okay, let me do that. I was thinking Limbel because I'm thinking Limbel. Wow, that's so sweet and delicious. Limbal. Here we go. And also Vigilio Bravo, and they're here to tell you a little bit about this wonderful documentary that they've been working on that's going to be airing next Sunday on PBS Worldwide. Okay, so this thing is called PBS World Channel. Estilo Hip Hop, welcome to the studios of WBAI.
Thank you for having us, Ibrahim.
Thank you.
All right. First of all, what is the documentary about?
Sure. Estilo Hip Hop is basically the story of Eliefi, Magia, and Guerrillero, 3 hip-hop activists, one from Brazil, one from Chile, and one from Cuba. And it chronicles their lives, their political struggles, and some of the sacrifices and compromises that they have to make along their journey.
And what would some of those sacrifices and compromises? I mean, without giving away the whole story, what kind of a musician has to make sacrifices or a hip hop artist?
I wonder, right? Well, you know, they basically all had to make decisions and some compromises that affected their own lives, but also their families. You know, and trying to juggle family life with careers and artistic lives, and also very intense political activism. And trying to juggle all of that and balance that out isn't easy.
In the respective countries that they're from, Colombia, Cuba, any other countries?
Brazil, Chile, Cuba.
Chile. Now, Brazil, Chile, and Cuba, what kind of political consequences do hip-hop artists have in those countries? If they utilize free speech, or do they have to watch what they say when they do their productions?
Well, I think that things vary per country. And although all the countries in Latin America, obviously they all have different political realities. The Cubanos, they have, their own set of challenges, simply because it's a little difficult for them to leave the country and visit other places. Whereas hip-hop activists from Chile, Brazil, Argentina, and in South America, you can travel around a little more. So the cultural exchanges of ideas and whatnot, it's a little more fluid. And then each country has its own recent political history tied to what's been happening there the last 20 years. So, the film touches a lot on, class issues, issues of, like racial identity and the struggles of the younger generation to bring, racism to the forefront. And that's sort of like I guess in a nutshell, some of the political context.
Well, that's a whole lot there. Lando?
Just wanted to ask, do you find that some of the material that's presented by the hip-hop artists in those countries kind of contradicts what the hip-hop artists here are complaining about, sort of protesting perhaps? There are material that contradicts or contrasts, but there's other materials that the lyrics do coincide with the message. So there are times that they do not coincide, and there are times that do coincide. For example, here I guess the hip artists are complaining against somewhere along the lines capitalism and the whole thing. In Cuba, I want to know what it is that they consign with the hip artists here and the ones.
What do they have in common with our hip hop artists?
As far as their messages.
Sure.
And what do they have that it's different?
Sure. Yeah. That's a great question. Well, in the U.S., hip-hop has become our pop music. It's become our pop culture. It's mainstream. That's not to say that there aren't wonderful, talented, independent, underground artists who are making politically relevant music in this country. There are many. But the face of hip-hop in this country is very much a pop culture. It's what you see on MTV. It's what you see on BET. In Latin America, hip-hop is still considered counterculture. It's not the mainstream. It's not the pop. Each country has its own form of pop music. So hip hop is still something very much that young people that are seeking an alternative, that are seeking for a voice, for an answer, for a way to express, all the problems that they're facing in their communities. And I'm talking about, black and brown, poor youth throughout Latin America. Hip-hop then becomes the voice for these young people. So by and large, the hip-hop that you'll see coming from Latin America doesn't resemble at all what you see on an MTV. Mm-hmm. It is very similar, however, to some of the lyrics and the messages that you'll see, with other independent, socially relevant artists in the U.S. So very different from MTV, more similar to independent hip-hop artists.
Now, these artists will be, of course, being that they're from Latin America, their material is in Spanish?
No,
Spanish
it's in English? And Portuguese.
Oh, Spanish and Portuguese,
yeah.
But not English.
Not English.
So how is the documentary going to put across Spanish and Portuguese lyrics to the American public?
Well, the documentary is subtitled, but we screened the documentary, in some festivals, and we've done some community screenings, and I think each of the characters has an intense level of charisma that I think transcends the language barrier. So when you see somebody, pouring out their heart out on the microphone, and then having the same amount of energy towards their political work, people feel that. And I think that we have three characters that have shown that compromise, not only with the music, with the activism, and the beauty of it that is captured in video, in the documentary. So you see it, you can connect to them. Going into making the film, we thought the subtitles would be a challenge. But in the end result, no one has complained to us and said, hey, you know what, I was reading too much. If anything, people wanted more information.
Thanks for that, Virgilio. Loida, thank you very much. Got a couple of more things that I want to touch on. First of all, give the website for people that want more information about Estilo Hip Hop.
Sure. So the website is www.estilohiphop.net.
Let's spell that for the audience.
Yeah, sure. ES as in Sam, TILO hiphop.net. Right. And the film will be broadcasting nationally on the PBS World Channel next Sunday, June 28th at 10 p.m.
That's 10 p.m. at night. There we go.
And you can also follow us on Facebook under the heading Estilo Hip Hop. And
become a fan, yo.
Twitter.
And Twitter as well. So please tell your friends, tell your uncle, tell your grandkids to tune in.
All right. Any closing thoughts that you want to express to the audience? Anything you want to share?
Well, I'm really excited that we're here actually today, and that you brought us together with the crew from New Muslim Cool. I think it's really telling and really important that, we're here together, that our films are actually going to be on PBS the same week. It's not, I feel like it's not every day that you find content like this on television, and so I'm honored and excited that we're sharing the space with the folks from New Muslim Cool.
Thank you, Loida. Javier? That's Virgilio.
It's all right. It's cool. I just encourage everybody to also, send us feedback if you do watch the film. If you have any comments, obviously we can no longer go and edit the film, but if you were inspired by something, let us know. And lastly, that just to please, try to understand that this film is coming through the perspective of a different place in the world, and it's so easy for us to kind of frame everything that we see through our own experiences living, in the States. Even though we might be Latinos, African Americans, we're still part of this animal over here. But for us, it's important for just kind of step out of this world and see it through the lens of three people who are living three different realities.
Virgilio, thank you so much. Virgilio Bravo and Loida Limbal. Okay, both of them, directors
and producers.
And producers of sharing the chores, huh?
Yep.
of El Estilo Hip Hop, which will be airing next Sunday at 10 p.m. on PBS. Okay, that's PBS World Channel. This is the Barrio Block, inviting everybody to stay tuned because we got more coming up.